Morris came in here
4 years ago.
4 years ago, looking very gray, looking very fragile.
So gray.
No, gray hair, but your skin color is way normal than it was. You look like you were like, God forbid, Walking Dead.
I was.
Fragile, came in here, didn't know what he wanted, but he said that somebody had referred him here, which I'm still very grateful for, that somebody would trust us with you. He just had a massive stroke, which left his left side paralyzed, and his physical therapist that he was going to before that incident is no longer in practice. So when Morris came to him, explained what had happened, he said, "I'm no longer doing this anymore, but go see these guys." So he came walking here, and I've trained people who've survived cancer. I've trained young athletes. I've trained general population, men, women, kids, athletes, competitive athletes, professional athletes, but never someone who's had a stroke. So I was very nervous and reluctant to, work with Morris because I didn't know what to do and how to get him to function again. But I'm happy that I stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit, did a little research, and worked with Morris from literally the ground level up. He was sitting in a chair, and I tied a band around his wrist, and I was just assisting him up to get his hand right. It would drop. So we were doing negative. So I'd pick his hand up, bring it to his mouth. My first thing was to try to get him to eat. So I'd pick him up, bring his hand to here, and let him try to bring it down slowly, like negatives, like we did the other day. And little by little, he doesn't let me touch his hand anymore because I give him bruises, because he said that he bruises easily, so I don't even mess with that anymore. But we were doing some range of motion stuff, some stretching stuff, and thankfully he's still here, and you're back on the golf course, right? Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn.
Day one, I walked in. I did look like a ghost. I see this guy.
This guy.
You.
This guy.
So we talk, and I said, look, I got about 6 weeks, then I'm going to Florida for the winter. So I'd like to work with you. So Anthony says to me, okay, what's your goal? So I said, to look like you.
I had a guy. I saved a note. He wanted me to do something. I think that was like against my integrity. And you know me, my values. I'm pretty thick-headed about them. But he said, "You don't have a choice." And I was like, dude, I always have a choice. I choose to be here. And so I left this really freaking arrogant note. I was like, just a reminder, I always have a choice, and I'm choosing to walk out. See you on the other side. And I just signed off on it, and I took a photocopy of it because I was like, this is gonna mean something someday. And it's true, because now I can pull it out and reflect on it. But I've given these guys the talk a few times too. Like, you choose to be here. You're not doing me any favors. I appreciate your work, but there's some things that have to get done a certain way. But you're not doing me any favors. You always have a choice. And if you choose to work here, this is what we all agree on. You're always gonna have a choice. And I think that kind of mentality has changed quite a bit, because now there's so many choices and the economy is like booming. People can either go work for somebody else, or the latest trend is entrepreneurship. Just go start your own business. And nowadays, everybody thinks that they could do it on their own. And a lot of them succeed. A lot of them are natural born entrepreneurs, but many people aren't, and just try because they don't want to follow the rules, but they don't know what it takes to be an entrepreneur, truly. And I've known from an early age that I just kind of thought a little different than the companies I worked for. Not all wrong, but I just had a different philosophy. And I knew that without a college education to back me up, I had to prove that I knew what I was doing. And when you're young, it's hard to prove when you don't have much experience, or you don't have opportunities to prove yourself until you create them. You can do anything, and I do believe that. But a lot of, I think, younger folks just think, you know, if something doesn't go their way, or they don't necessarily agree with something, or they're entitled to making all this money because they see their Instagram famous friends doing it, or they see Gary Vee doing it, that they can just go out and become that and do that. But success isn't built upon that. Success is built upon the trials and the tribulations and the kind of the struggles in the journey. Trials and tribulations just create growth and opportunity. And if you don't go through it, you're never going to really become truly successful. You know, the old quote, like, my overnight success took 30 years, kind of thing, you know? I don't think people in general, not just millennials, but people aren't willing to go through the bullshit because they want shit overnight. And sometimes you gotta just, you know, you shouldn't make $1 million yet. You're not gonna be able to handle $1 million if you got there, you know? I think I was making, 10 years ago, I was making $8 an hour in New York City. Literally 10 years ago, 2008, $8 an hour. Before that, I was making no money. I had no job, took a big risk. And then when I did get a job, they're like, all right, great. We're gonna teach you how to become a personal trainer, but you're gonna make $8 an hour until you get your first client. And I was like, oh my God, this is a great opportunity. Nowadays, try telling somebody you're gonna pay me $8 an hour. They'll be like, fuck you. McDonald's is gonna pay me 10 or 12 or 15. And people are fighting for it, and they're getting it because they need more money. It's like, no man, you gotta eat shit. It's one of the reasons why I love Gary Vee, because he keeps it real. He's like, you gotta eat shit. You gotta be willing to eat that. It's worth it. How's my hair look? Precious. What's the deal for today? We're gonna go home and shave real quick. And we're gonna go hit up Dr. Eugene O'Neill, chiropractor, over in Branchburg. Met him through the BNI group, the BNI connection. That's 3 podcasts in a row from the BNI. BNI should sponsor our podcast. Yo, BNI. Just kidding. We don't need a sponsor just yet. Chiropractor, but he only does upper cervical. 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, think of lunchtime, and then lower lumbar, 5. So think of dinner. So it's 7, 5, 12. He only works on upper 7. He believes everything is on that axis where the head sits, the skull sits, is responsible for most, you know, back pain and other sorts of things. He'll dive in deeper, but every system is run through your spine. Your spine is actually the first thing that grows in your mom's belly. Look at you two fucking jerk offs. Gary Vee said fucking jerk off. I got my nuts in my head, so I couldn't shake your hand.
But there was a picture in there, so you didn't want to say it.
I tell you, so like in 30 seconds or less, to the people there, as I say, what I really value from Dr. Gene is he scans my spine when I get there, shows you on the screen what's off, and only makes adjustments that he needs to adjust. And if he doesn't need to make an adjustment, he just kind of doesn't do anything, and puts me in the massage chair, and I take a nap for 10 minutes.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Dr. Gene, I don't want you to be nervous, man. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to help you promote your business.
All right. Thank you.
I don't want you to be shitting your pants on camera.
Yeah, I'll put that on the film. The system's impacted. The body's going to present as an imbalance. Remember, now those 700 muscles are not working together properly. So we sort of see this distortion. So it becomes basically a postural test with the patient lying down. So now with this patient lying down here, what you see is what we call a right short leg. It doesn't mean the bones. What we're talking about is with the body being bilateral, meaning the same muscles on one side as the other. You're seeing by the time those muscles hit the low back, the right leg's winning the tug of war. Well, I appreciate you having a typical Monetti type response there.
That's on the right?
Yeah, hopefully you were filming that as I pulled it up.
That's post, baby. In this week's episode, I got with my man, Dr. Eugene O'Neill from O'Neill Chiropractic Health and Wellness over in Branchburg. Doc, what's your one takeaway from today's podcast?
Health. How do we define it? How do you know you have it? How do you keep it? And in the treatment of sickness or disease, are we treating cause or are we treating effect?
It's a big deal nowadays because you really don't know unless you get checked out. Are you really healthy? Come and see Dr. Gene, get checked out, and make sure you watch this podcast and listen. Let me know what you think.
Nerve system. It's all about that. Love you, bud.
I love you too, man. Thank you very much. It's been great. Finish here. Now hold on to the hand. Hold on to the hand. This way. Well, actually, it's here first. Hug, and then slide it. Boom, and you can always finish it with this.
All right.
All right, one more time. Here. Boom, bring it in. Slide.
Clap.
Boom. I thought Jen was coming in yesterday. I have Ed tonight at 4:30. Are you meeting with her at 4?
I'm meeting with her at 4:45, and then you were going to meet with her after that. You said it even in the Slack channel.
All right, cool.
That was the whole plan. I was going to sit with her. I was going to take pictures, measurements, macros, talk about that, and then you were going to come in towards the tail end. I do have a session at 6 o'clock, so I'm not really going to be able to sit long with you guys.
I'm just going over program stuff, right?
Yeah.
Gym owner props.
We ran out. We've been using bleach on the floor, bro. Cleans it. It's not good to be rolling around in it, though. Podcast by day, floor cleaner by night. Look at the cute little Chris